Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I am bringing back a friend because he has a particular expertise that I don't, and I always like talking to experts that are very successful. So let's welcome back Max Keller to the show. How you doing, Max?
Oh, feeling good. Feeling good. It's a new day and just happy to be here.
Thank you, man. Hey, so I wanted first off, thank you for doing two interviews. Not a lot of people will give me that time, so I really do appreciate that. I wanted to make this show about mobile homes because two reasons. One, I don't think a lot of people understand they're a lot more like sticks and bricks housing in certain aspects, and you are really successful at it. So, given I don't own any, I have no expertise, and you have a ton of it, I said, let's see if we can talk about it.
Great. Yeah. Well, you just tell me where you want to get started,
Yeah.
but it is great. I call it the best kept secret in real estate investing, and that's from my own personal opinion because it was a secret to me too. When I got started in real estate investing, I was a teacher for many years. I got into real estate. I wanted to just buy one rental at a time and just put one on the board a year. Save my down payment money. I was going to work in the summers, save my down payment money, and then just keep getting properties and just kind of make that my retirement basically. Got into real estate like a lot of people do, single family residential. Folks think that's the only asset class. And we're not here bad talking single family residential, of course not. But there are some other ones out there that are great. If I had learned about mobile homes sooner, based on my market and my goals, I would have gotten into them all in from the beginning. But I didn't because it's not publicized. There's a ton of misconceptions. We'll go over some of those today. But when I start seeing the numbers of what they really look like from my friend and now business partner, Glenn Stromberg, been in the mobile home industry for 37 years, done everything mobile homes, bought and sold mobile home parks, owned dealerships, real estate on land, personal property. I mean, the whole deal. Once he started to explain what his deals looked like, we dove in further, and I can't wait to tell you what I found out.
Yeah, this is exactly why you're on the show because I have zero experience. So, when was the first time you stumbled across the mobile home? Right? When did the deal come across, or what'd you think? Do you remember that first time?
It was actually, I think it was either my first or second deal, and I passed on it because I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was
Ah,
so different. It was a personal property mobile home, so the land and the property are separate.
mhm.
There's two types of mobile homes. There's personal property, which is, you could think of it sort of like a car. Okay, it's got a VIN number of sorts, right? It's registered. It depreciates. It makes cash. They're not bad, but they're not connect. They're on a piece of land, but it's not one security document. Okay, they're separate for a myriad of reasons. We have so much time, but it was personal property. I didn't understand the difference between who owned the land versus the actual structure. I couldn't find a way to buy them together. I just didn't know what I was doing, so I passed. It was hard for me to understand how to evaluate and actually vet the deal. Whereas for a single family, it was so easy. And so what happened is who I really stumbled on probably after about a year of investing full time. I met Glenn Stromberg at a mastermind that I was in. He got up there and he was talking about mobile homes, and he's just done thousands and thousands of mobile home deals. Like I've never met anybody who's done more, especially on the real estate, that side of it, where the property and the land are actually connected. I never met anybody who's done more. His company was doing at the time maybe 10 a month or so. Now we're together and it's 15 a month in 6 states. And so it's like when I met him, so funny. He always talks about it. Everybody at the masterminds, and these are for folks who are listening if they've never been in one. It's just a group of real estate investors. There's different levels. Some people a little more entry. Some people have a lot more experience depending on the group you're in. And we're just in there for 2 or 3 days sharing ideas and learning from each other. That's it. So he would give his presentations, and he's in Fort Worth, Texas, like I am.
Huh.
So he would talk about how great it was, and everybody there's like, oh, it does sound great. I'm going to do mobile homes. And then when they go home, they just go back to what they were doing. And I was like, So he goes, well, you're in Fort Worth. How the relationship started, how I really got into mobile homes is he said, well, you're in Fort Worth. And at that time I was doing, well over 100,000 a year in direct mail. So, just, I don't know,
Wow.
hundreds of thousands of pieces or something. I mean, so much mail. And I would get mobile home leads and I really didn't know what to do with them. And he says, well, if you get mobile home leads anywhere in Texas, in the area, Dallas Fort Worth is like 6 million people. So it's a big metro. It's very spread out. He says, if you get any of those leads, just send them to me. So I did. And I started sending him leads. And then I started following up with him and see how those deals went. And then I found out how much money he was making. And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe it. And so I feel bad now. I mean, I should have, but when you're young, you just say things you probably shouldn't have said, especially like with the experience. I mean, he has so much experience. I should have just taken his word. And I was like, hey, I want to go see it. So I went out and saw some of his mobile homes. Like from the inside, they're incredible. I thought they were pieces of junk. I thought they were like way out where the tumbleweeds are. They were just on the outside of the city. I mean, like very commutable. And then the inside of the house, it was like all the same materials. He's like, yeah, we rehabbed this house. It took 30 days. I was like, what? I'm over here rehabbing houses that are taking, I'm like rebuilding the pyramids. Some of these are taking a year almost, permitting, I'm like, what's the permitting like? He's like, we can't pull a permit if we wanted to. We're outside the city limits. Who would we pull it? And I was just like, huh? And then he'd be like, I go, well, what about the rehabs? And he's like, yeah, we get them done in like less than 30 days. I'm like, huh? And then he would tell me, yeah, 15 grand is kind of an average rehab. And I'm like, huh? And I couldn't believe it. So it just sort of developed over time. I just started sending him deals. I started to work for his company because I have a consulting business. And so I started helping him with some acquisition stuff. And that's, when you're a consultant, you get to really see the inside guts.
Yeah.
Not what everybody says is going on at the mastermind, like the whole deal. And when I saw the whole deal, I was like, oh my goodness gracious. I said, how can we do more of this? And then I started doing more of it. We started working together. And then, he's, I hope he didn't mind I say his age. Well, he's barely over 60. and so I'm like, Glenn, like, I love you, man, but you're not going to live forever. What are you going to do with all this knowledge in your brain? And he's like, well, I don't know. I started a coaching program previously, but he was so busy with everything else. It just didn't make sense. And I was like, well, why don't we, find a way to teach other people this stuff? Because like I'm seeing the benefits from this. And I've been on the other side, with the single family.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand how challenging that side is because he's just been straight mobile homes. And so I was like, there's a great opportunity to teach this to other people. See how this works with me?
Yeah.
It's like, if you watch the other episode, I just can't help it. So I'm like, and people are asking about it. And some of the different people that we know, influencers in real estate space, are like, we can't even find anybody to teach this stuff. And I'm like, Glenn, I know some, I'm learning more. I'm doing these. I can't catch up to 37 years. You know everything there is about it. Let's work together and create some curriculum and some courses to teach people. And so he agreed, and that's how we started Mobile Vested. And so far it's been a really cool journey.
That's awesome. Well, why don't we give some people a taste of numbers, right? We've said it's really profitable on that. Why don't you talk about a couple of deals, acquisition, just break a couple down for us.
So real simple. When I say half the price, double the cash flow, that's what I'm talking about. So instead of being all in on 100, like you could be all in if you're an investor and you got the deal. You can be all in on a property for like a single family residential sticks and bricks home for 120. So let's say, I know you're in California, right?
Yes.
So is 120 hard to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
It's relative. And, I'll explain how much easier this thing is to scale. I mean, I have so much to tell you. This is going to be jam-packed because people don't know this stuff. There's a few people, and the ones who know it, they're not saying nothing.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, there's no reason to, right? But it's like, there's a lot of mobile homes. There's 10 million mobile homes, guys. It's almost 10% of the U.S. housing stock. If you take apartments out, it's 20% of the U.S. housing stock, according to U.S. Census, housing annual survey. And then if you take out non-affordable single family homes, it's, depending on which study you look at, 25 to 30%. So if we're talking affordable housing, mobile homes isn't just this like weird little niche where there's a few out in the country. It's a lot of homes. Okay. So as far as the numbers go, you could be all in on a single family home somewhere in Texas. If you know what you're doing, $120,000 on a bricks and sticks house, maybe cash flow 250. Or if you're a full-time real estate investor, you can be all in on a mobile home for 60 and cash flow 500. So it's like, which one would you want to do? Now, do results vary? Of course. Does it depend on your skill and where you are? Sure. But what's really interesting is I was in multiple states scaling my business for single family. And there's a bunch of different factors that you have to consider when scaling any business. And there were all these different levers, and some of them I had control over, and some of them I just didn't have as much control. And what the most amazing thing about mobile homes to me There's so many. One of them is the price points are a lot lower. So we feel like they're just so much more accessible for a regular person who maybe isn't, high net worth from an active or passive perspective. So that's number one. Number two, there's so much less competition. People don't understand, like when Glenn would tell me about how they're acquiring deals, like I was looking at him like he was crazy. I was like, there's no way that's the situation. Now, are there people who buy mobile homes on land, which is primarily what we're focused on right now today? Yes, but it's nothing like single family. So the price points are a lot lower. There's a lot less competition. But here's what's interesting. The prices of the homes are a lot lower and the rents are lower, but they're not that much lower. They're not half. So you get a bigger spread. I mean, that's really how it works. Like everything that I was struggling with in my single family business, I'll give you an example. In single family, sometimes it's hard to scale because, especially on rehabs, because every location where you're at needs a different finish out. Okay. Depending on your neighborhood. I mean, it could change one street. And even in rentals, sometimes there's one package fits all, but depending on where you are and the neighborhood, not necessarily. But with mobile homes, it's like it's one package of basic rehab for rentals and flip properties. Like they're the same no matter what. I was like, this is incredible. There's a ton of paid off mobile homes because the price point started out so low to begin with. It's just easier for homeowners to pay them off. So there's advantages to working with people who have paid off balances. You can move them. I mean, and that's more on the personal property, but there's just like all the different levers that I was trying to pull in my business and get in my favor to scale single family. There were so many challenges. The rehabs on some of these single family homes. America is aging. It's not just the people, it's the homes. The housing stock is 50s, 60s, 70s. Well, it turns out that was a long time ago. I remember when it was just around the corner, right?
Yeah.
Like it was a while ago. The houses are falling apart. All the cast iron sewer pipes are having to get tunneled out. Mobile homes, you don't do that. You get a maintenance guy to just crawl under the house because there's 3 feet of clearance and they just change it. You don't even need a plumber.
Yeah.
It's like on and on and on. So when I started seeing those advantages, I was like, this is a yes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I've never been more passionate about anything.
That's saying something right there.
I mean, until they run out, but I think it's going to be a while.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a while. So I'm curious, when you look at this opportunity in front of you, do you look at it as a way to create passive income, active income, both? What is it for you?
You can do both. What I like, what I'm doing and what Glenn and I are doing together is a combination of turnkey properties to investors because the cash flow is good. Yep. And we run the property management. So, because that's the key. If you don't have property management and you're not a wizard at that, turnkey properties, and for people who are new that are listening, is basically you put the key in and turn it, meaning the property's ready to go. So instead of if there's somebody who's an engineer or a teacher and they want to buy a rental property, instead of them finding it, fixing it up, finding the tenant and managing all of that process and making sure the rent's collected, someone does it for you or gets it ready to go, and then property management takes over. So if you have, and that's what's Glenn is so good at property management. Right now we're property managing in 6 states.
Wow.
And they just like really, really have the systems down. It's probably, I guess maybe the best thing that, the company does. And so that's huge. When you have property management, it opens up to turnkey, which is just really, passive investors that just are looking for a good rate of return. So we get an active income one-time payment up front for a turnkey property. We increase the price so that we get paid for our work because it's obviously work to do those 4 things: find the house, fix it up, get the tenant in, and then, so I guess that's 3, but we could weave something else in there. And then you get paid to do the property management. And, where a lot of people, where I think we're really different is that we're not trying to make a lot of money on the property management. We're just using the property management as a vehicle to provide, as stable of a investment as possible for our buyers. And so we invest a lot of time, energy, and resources into that. And so if you have that, then you can do that. Now, so you can get a combination of active and passive. Now you can flip mobile homes to retail customers. There's retail demand. There's FHA financing. There's so many misconceptions about mobile homes. It's unbelievable. They're like, well, how do you know what they're worth? It's real simple. You go to the MLS. There's thousands of mobile homes that are being sold on the MLS every day across the nation.
Yeah.
You can buy them off the MLS and you can rehab them and you pull comps just like you would for a single family, and you can sell them, like that. So there's I mean, you can wholesale mobile homes. There's really, it's weird. It's like, it's not as different as you think. So folks who are in the single family space, who maybe are like looking for a different option or looking for a different way, a lot of those skills transfer over.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what I hope people take from this, is it is not that much different. Single family home versus mobile homes. Why don't we tackle one of the elephants in the room? And that is probably people think, again, if they maybe are in California like myself, where mobile homes are not that prevalent, at least in the Bay Area per se. How do we address the, it's all meth heads and that kind of stuff? I know it's not, but people are going to be thinking that. So the quality of tenants and all of that.
Well, that's a great question. The reason that mobile homes have kind of, maybe a bad PR campaign is, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, there really weren't, and even in the 80s, the standards were not high on mobile homes. Right now we're purchasing mobile homes 1990 and newer. That's when there was like huge fundamental change, and HUD came in and set some like totally different standards that was pretty much at the same level as the single family homes. I mean, it changed everything. You're at the point now where you're on the inside of a single family or a mobile home, and it looks like a single family home, except for the roof pitch isn't as high and it doesn't have brick. So the older mobile homes weren't tied down at all. So when there was a storm, they would blow over. Another thing is that trailer parks and mobile homes on land are like totally different. Okay. So trailer parks are, first of all, they're not making any new trailer parks, right? So these are usually older parks. They're single wides, not double wides, and they're packed together. And the folks, it's the most affordable type of housing. So there is going to be different challenges. They're older units. So they weren't as high quality to begin with. And because they're more affordable, there's going to be challenges. People are packed a lot closer together. Density always brings challenges.
Yes.
What we're not doing that right now. Okay. We've done it. Okay, I've done a little bit of it, but what we're focused on is mobile homes on land. This is a subdivision, just like a single family subdivision. There's no difference. You go into the neighborhood, it's got paved streets, it's got paved driveways. Each mobile home has an acre, so you get a little more land. I mean, we have them in our city just in the suburbs. So this isn't the trailer park. This is a 1,600 square foot, 2,000 plus square foot manufactured home on an acre of land. Right next door is a driveway and another person's, home, and it attracts all types of folks. I mean, it attracts people who have six-figure incomes. Why? Because they've been watching your videos and your podcasts, and they want to get one rental at a time, and they realize that you can't do that if you're house poor.
Yeah.
So, the quality's changed a lot. In order to get FHA financing, the mobile homes have to be bolted down to a concrete foundation. We have an investor that's actually part of our team. He had 31 mobile homes in one of the big storms on the east coast of Florida, and he had a bunch of single families. Long story short, at the end of the hurricane, the single family homes, all the roofs were messed up. He had to go to Atlanta to put tarps on them and get the materials. The mobile homes, no damage.
Wow.
So it's like, so there's a lot of misconceptions. And honestly, the misconceptions have been making Glenn and I a lot of money. So we sort of don't want them to continue, but we feel like there's so much to go around. It's in our best interest. We can't buy every house to let people know that this is a real opportunity for active or passive. It's just the choice is yours.
Yeah. So let's hit that one more time. Mobile homes fixed to land, because I want to make sure people realize there is a difference between, hey, I own the personal property, the unit, and I lease the land.
Right.
Versus it's a fix. So make sure people understand that. Give that one more definition.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So, a mobile home, it's a building. And it can be a personal property mobile home where you do not own the land. You actually technically can own the land, but you don't have them tied together. People actually do that. So if they foreclose on the mobile home, like let's say it's family land and they don't make the payments on the mobile home company can repossess the mobile home, but they can't take the land because it's not tied to it. That's why people do that. Okay. So you can keep them separate. And there's pros and cons to everything. We don't like that because when it's not tied together, it's a structure like a car that's depreciating in value. The mobile homes that we purchased on land, after the crash and even into it, to where they are now on land have doubled in value. So when they're on land, it's just a more secure instrument. There's more security to the investors, more security for us. And we've seen that the value of them go up and down with the real estate cycle. If they're separate, you can find out from your title company, your attorney, closing office. But sometimes we buy them separated and then we tie them together.
Very cool. So how would, again, they are just advertising the MLS. I think you said that earlier. Any other aspects where people can go look for ones that are
Yeah,
tied to
sure.
land?
Sure, absolutely. We've got some videos on our website, Mobile Vested. You can check those out, and we're always posting social content so you can engage with us. But the main ways that we recommend people to get started with mobile homes, once they know what they're doing, once they have a title company, I mean, there is something to it. They are a little different. The main thing is your support team needs to know what they're doing. Everybody needs to know what they're doing. Let's face it. But there's MLS, there's HUD, bandit signs. Those are some good ways to, and then networking. Because honestly, most of the people in your local community, when they come across mobile home leads, they don't know what to do with them. So if you're the mobile home expert for your area, then they'll just give them to you.
Yeah.
And that's what we're training people to do in the our students and in the markets that we're in. It's a really low barrier way to get in. It's just very accessible. And then we're also taking our curriculum and we're translating everything, including the videos, into Spanish because we think it's important. And as far as I know, we're the first education company to do this. And the reason is because, Hispanic populations they want to invest too. They have passive income. Everybody folks are very entrepreneurial. Folks who come over here from other countries, they want to invest and better themselves, and the price points are advantageous. So we're going to have, I don't speak Spanish, but we have somebody on our team that does. And so we're going to teach, Hispanic, Spanish speaking folks, and we're going to teach English speaking folks and just invest and make money.
Very, very cool. So I think there's so much stuff you're doing with Mobile Vest. How can people follow you, get more, figure out the webinars and all that stuff? Because I think there is something here that people are ignoring because they thought it was different. So how can people educate themselves and follow you?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll put some contact information down below, but they can go to our website, mobilevested.com. And then they can engage with us on Facebook, like us. I'm Max Keller. Glenn doesn't really do the whole Facebook thing, but I do a little bit. He's from the different generation. But, you got to respect your elders because they got a lot of knowledge. And, for me, Warren Buffett said, obviously, you can learn from your own mistakes, but it's better to learn from other people's mistakes. And so, I just encourage people to come and get information as much as they want from us. We both want to give and serve. And, we've got a lot of different viewpoints. And the other thing is we're not teaching stuff that came out of a box or a focus group. We're doing this every single day, right. 15 homes a month in 6 states. So this isn't fiction. We call it a proven advantage because we've proved it. We're doing it every day. We're making money doing it. And we've just decided that now's the time to share some of this information. And we're looking forward to helping. Our mission is to serve 10,000 people, either new investors, help people make money on their first mobile home deal, or make more money on their next. And so that's our goal. And we've got 5 years to achieve that. And we'll see how it goes.
Very cool, man. Well, I look forward to watching your success. This is exactly what I wanted people to get out of understanding mobile homes. I appreciate you, Max. Thank you very much.
Okay, you too. Thank you, everybody.